joins you again with all the fire, right? We turn down our music. And I probably should have checked which way the wind was blowing before I started this. But my sets aren't the safest, so hopefully we'll get through it, right? I would like to welcome all of you who joined us today to celebrate these beautiful equinox energies. Let me get us some sage lit and set the mood. Okay. I come to you today for us to have ceremony. To use these equinox energies, this 0 point energy of equal point night and day, because the 0 point is the void where all creation is birthed, right? So we come today together to pray and have ceremony. To discuss what we want to birth into the void. What do we want moving forward to see in our world? You know, I always do new moon and full moon ceremonies. And there's a very specific reason that I do that. And I'm going to share that reason with y'all today. Because I believe it is very important as we move into the fifth dimension for people to begin understanding how to collaborate with the divine, how to create miracles in your life. And the reason I can speak so fluidly on the subject of miracles is 8 years ago I had to perform a miracle in my life and knew that without the supernatural protection in the hand of God, it would be an impossible. It would never happen. Which brings us to our topic of discussion. You know, I wanted to do a ceremony because I feel it's important to teach the masses how to co-create with the divine using astrological alignments and the lunar cycles. So that falls in line with this teaching, you know, why we're getting together for the equinox, to pull in as much of the energy coming from the heavens to ground through our, you know, to come in through our crown, and ground to connect to the earth. And while I thought it was just going to be that, while I was collecting the wood for the fire, I realized it was going to be much more than that. Remember I told you Spirit wanted me to start sharing more intimate details about my life? Being more vulnerable? Well, I got to download that. That was going to be today. And while the things I'm getting ready to tell you about my personal life, it's something I could have lived my whole life without y'all ever knowing and been totally fine with that. But Spirit says no, because then that's not accepting all the parts of yourself. You know, we've all walked through challenging journeys for a reason, right? Everyone has their story. And the reason why we have those stories and we experience those things is to heal and learn the lesson and then make those experiences turn into our medicine to heal ourselves and to grow and to evolve. So, teaching today is on how to create miracles in your life. That's the teaching. But in order to do that, first I have to tell you why I am a qualified person to speak on this subject. So that Spirit guided me requires me to give some intimate details about my own personal life that I never thought this early in my awakening that I would be sharing. Well, I knew ultimately that was my goal as a teacher and a healer, was to share my experiences. I was not quite ready to share these, so if you see me squirming over here, it's because this is uncomfortable. So, I'm trying to get this smoke where it's not in y'all face. but I want the sage, so I'm trying to find a placement, guys. I don't know, maybe this would have worked. That's not going to work either. Hold on. Okay, so let us begin. We're not going to start with our usual gratitude. Well, usually that's what I would do. We will end on that note because gratitude is the highest vibration one can experience, and it's the way to call in miracles in your experience. So we'll end on gratitude. But I'd like us all to begin first by taking a deep breath. Breathing in the worries and stress, concerns, fear, and exhaling faith and knowing, and certainty and clarity. The message I'm delivering today is going to be powerfully important, so I want to make sure at the start of this we align with the highest light, because I want to make sure that the message I express to you today, to the collective, is the message the collective is the most in need of hearing, and that I find the words to communicate this powerful message of how to make miracles in your life with you. So let's begin by calling in all our sacred peeps on the other side, aligned with the highest light, the Federation of Light, our angels, Mappa, which is our Mama, Papa in heaven, Creator, Source, our angels, our guides, our ancestors, Archangel Metatron, Archangel Ariel, the dragon energy, because we're talking about making miracles and creating magic, and the fairies, who we're also calling in, and the dragon energy is a profound energy to work with on the other side to do that. And I would also like to align myself with each of yours higher selves. So I communicate this message in a way that's most effective to not only inspire you and uplift you, but to make sure you get the true understanding. If you want to create magic and miracles in your life, start to work with the heavens by using the astrological alignments, the lunar cycles, right? I would like to thank all our ancestors, passed on loved ones, Chief Ayano, everyone who's with us. And I called in a team of spirits into this backyard for this because I need their moral support. Totally I do. Because this is going to be hard for me to say. So let's get into it. When I was 30 years old, so that's 13 years ago, my son was born. And within that 3 months of his birth, the final nail came in the coffin for me, and I just gave up on life. Like, life had beat me down so badly that I had just given up. My son's father was in jail. We were not together. I was living with my parents. I dabbled, had a little bit of a substance abuse problem. Everything was just a mess. My car got flooded, so I had no vehicle. My son was born disabled, so I couldn't go back to work. Life had just kicked me in the teeth, and I dove headfirst into a severe addiction. That's when Oxycontin was the big player, right? And I had a raging Oxycontin addiction. And then when strategically the government got everybody hooked on Oxycontin, and then closed down all the pain pill clinics to get the Oxycontin, and then lowered the sentencing on heroin, flooding the streets with heroin, I got swept up into that raft, and for 5 years dove headfirst into a heroin addiction. I was destroying my life at a rapid pace, and then a miracle happened. My son's father got out of jail. He was drug-free, and he wanted us to build a life and build a family. And following my dream of having the family I always wanted was a possibility. So that's the reason I was doing drugs, was to escape the misery of never having like a strong, domesticated, loving family. So with anyone who's addicted to drugs, in order to get them to quit the drugs, they have to want something more than the drugs. In my case, I wanted a family. So when this offer was made to me, that was all the motivation I needed to get off the heroin. My bracelet's stuck in again. So I clean up. I'm in this relationship with my son's father, and I'm in it for about a year, and I realized why I was doing drugs in it. It was miserable. He was just like my daddy. He was a narcissist. He was toxic. He was just a mess. He was controlling. He was mean-spirited. So, and I thought it was really great when I was on drugs and all that stuff, but now that we were both sober trying to be in a relationship, I was like, whoa. So I got out of that after about a year into it. But I had gotten out of my drug-induced coma long enough to be able to see my life and the wreck I had turned it into. I had made a mess of my life. I graduated with a 4-year college degree, graduated with honors, worked for the Social Security Administration, all the mental health centers, worked with disabled children, you know? And when I dove into my drug addiction, I racked up a criminal record, drug charges, theft charges. So the only way I could ever work in my field again is if I went to get a master's, right? So I could at least go be a substance abuse counselor, because then I had education and experience. But I couldn't even go to work because I had a disabled kid. Still no car, still living with my parents. Desperate. Sad. And I needed a miracle. I needed the hand of God to move in my life. Because I didn't know how I was going to repair everything I had broken. And I wasn't going to go back to using drugs. And that's when my road to awakening and spirituality began. When my son was about 5, so that was 8 years ago. He's 13 now. I started researching everything I could about spirit, about God, studying and universal laws and angels, and because I wanted to know, had God forgotten me? Or had I messed up so bad that I had lost his supernatural hand of protection to move in my life? So I started researching, and I started studying, and I started learning. And what I discovered was that no, God had not forgotten me, and all was not lost, that I could start to believe in my dreams again. And that if I had the highest, best intentions for the greatest good of all, and I truly wanted to change my life and change who I was as a person, and give back to all the times when I took, that the universe would support me fully. That nothing was impossible with their help. Nothing. And that is when I learned about how to co-create with the heavens. Because first I knew the number one rule. The number one rule is you can't want to create with them for your own selfish reasons. It has to be for the greater good of all if you really want the heavens to get behind you. So I was good with that. Shoot, I always wanted to help people. I worked with the disabled population. That's always been my calling, you know, before I lost my way. And so I had that part covered. So then I started learning. My universe spoke. What was its language? How did it speak? And how could I hear its messages? I started learning about signs, nature, numbers, sacred geometry. Studied a lot about astrology. Started understanding that the planets, right? Each planet means something. Like, for example, Venus is associated with beauty, love, aesthetics, romance. Jupiter is the planet of luck. Saturn is the planet of karma. And when these heavenly bodies move in the sky and line up with their brothers and sisters, sextiling them or conjuncting them, it has a pull on the collective. And I could use these alignments, like what we're doing today for the Equinox. At certain times, in certain alignments, I could set my intentions and work with spirit. Because I needed a miracle. I needed a miracle. Like the wreckage I had created in my life, there was no repair on my own. I needed the supernatural hand of God to move in my life and make magic. I also learned a lot about the lunar cycles. New moons are about setting intentions. What do you want to birth into the world for the next 30 days? Full moons are about releasing. So, over the course of the last 8 years, I've studied and learned. I've done my ceremonies in new moons and full moons, worked with the energies of the solstice and the equinox. I quit paying so much attention to mainstream holidays like Christmas and Thanksgiving and started putting a little bit more emphasis on how to co-create with the heavens, because that's what I needed, was heavenly help. And that is why I do these new moon and full moon ceremonies, because I want to give you the benefit of my experience. Because this is the thing, we all need a miracle, right? You know, it's like this. So you're in school and you have a test the next day and the teacher tells you you can write down 10 things on an index card and bring them in with you for the test, right? And you don't write them down. So you have no help for the test. So it's the same thing the universe does with us. It says, yes, you're agreeing to incarnate on the earth plane, and no, we can't be with you. We have to be up here in the heavens, okay? But they give us ways to work with them, right? Like the co-creating with them based on the astrological alignments and the lunar cycles. They give us all kinds of tools to work with them. But if we don't know how to do it, then the tools are useless. So what I'm here to teach you is the importance of using the tools we've been given to make magic and make miracles. You know, I wanted to speak to you on this subject because, and tell you this testimony about my own personal life, so you know that I'm not speaking on a subject I'm not familiar with. You can ask people that knew me when I was in my addiction and that know me now, and they will tell you, my life is a miracle. My life is magical. Like, I don't have money in the bank, but I got a roof over my head, quite a beautiful roof. I've got all these pets. My son goes to a special needs school that's really expensive. We have health insurance. I get to stay home every day with my kid. I have a car to drive. No, I don't have money in the bank. I'm facing the fire like everyone else. You know, and that's the second part of this. Right now, I know a bunch of us light warriors, and just people in general, like they are facing the fire right now. Like shit's for real. Like they got people out there that can't eat, don't have the money to eat, a roof over their head, all these things, you know. And I know us light workers, like we have been waiting for the opportunity to birth our new world. And you know, it's hard to be in your fullest expression of enlightenment and the fullness of who you are when you're worried about, you know, are you going to be able to keep the lights on? Are you going to have food to eat? Or that you got all that, but Lord forbid something break in the house because you're screwed, right? So for these equinox energies, you know, this is the 0 point. And in the 0 point, in the void, is where, you know, like a baby's in the womb, right? It's dark. And then it bursts into the light. And it's so funny because yesterday I was on the phone with Jody. And whenever we're on the phone, I pay attention to what nature's doing outside. And all of a sudden I hear all these crows coming, and I wonder, the crows are here, because the crows are fourth dimensional seers. So they usually are a precursor when something magical is going to happen. And I look in my backyard right over there, and there's this beautiful, majestic, large, like fox-like cat thing. It wasn't a cat, but it wasn't a fox. It was bigger and more regal and majestic. And it was solid black, except for these white socks on all 4 feet. And this beautiful white V that was just like a lion, like real, like, I don't know, it stood out, it was white. And when me and Jody couldn't figure out it wasn't a cat or a fox, she informed me it was a shapeshifter, And the crows were coming to let me know that this was magical. And why that rendezvoused in my backyard yesterday, I'll tell you why. And it's so amazing and symbolic for what is today. Today is the equinox, the 0 point. So the black on the shapeshifter represented the void, the darkness, right? Where creation is formed. And the white on the socks was from the darkness burst the light. And the socks was the white grounding it into Mother Earth and expanding it from its heart chakra and its throat area. Because Saint Germain, Nasara, is going to be a reality. We must claim it, light warriors. We know, Spirit, we know that people can't be worried about enlightenment and studying these ancient sacred truths if they're worried about how they're going to feed their family. Like, we get it. So I want all of us in this 0 point, right? The 0 point in the void of today, that 0 point, for us to set the intention to birth our abundance so we can be in our fullest expression of love and light and create our new world. Which brings us to our next point. You know, I've been able to magically transform my life, and my life is magic. This is a miracle. I should not be where I'm at, having this amazing life. And I wouldn't without the hand of Spirit, the hand of God moved in my life. And it can move in everyone's life. I'm not special or different. You just have to learn how to co-create with it. Like what we're doing today, that all of us joined us to do. So it brings me to this. In 8 years, Spirit has really tested my faith, right? And I'm sure it tested all of yours. And right now we're in the 11th hour, where our faith is truly being tested. And we have to rise like warriors and stand in our truth and know that abundance we seek is ours. We have to claim it, right? We have to claim it, but we have to continue to believe. And I know things look scary right now. I know. It's scary for me too, dude. I'm facing the fire. Like, I'm one break away, something big breaking over here, and I'm screwed, right? So I get it. I get it. But you know, it's really easy to have faith when everything's working in your favor. It's when the shit hits the fan and your back's against the wall and you have no reason to believe anymore. But you do. And it's your belief that calls it into you. You know, I get so disheartened when I hear people say, I believe it when I see it. They don't understand you're never going to see it. You have to believe it in your mind and then feel it in your heart and know it's true. That's what speaks to the energetic field and allows the universe to allow it to manifest in the physical. You have to believe it if you ever want to see it. But you know, as a society, we've been taught the opposite. I'll see it when I believe it. Because they were deliberately trying to mislead us. It's time to break tradition with the old way and understand that people that were telling us how to play the game had the game stacked against us and were giving us false information deliberately. And so that is why I do this. You know, when I got spiritual, I was so excited. I wanted to share with everyone everything I was learning. I just wanted to share. Because I felt like I got the keys to the kingdom. Like I finally figured out like how this world works, and I just wanted to share it. So I'm gonna start sharing these insanely personal details about my life Because if I can save you the trouble of studying and researching for 8 years to know what I know, then I would love to do that. Because, I call it the quickening. As we move through this ascension, the energies are quickening. And those who are just waking up now have a lot to learn. And this is my purpose. This is why I went through all those horrible, awful experiences. So that I could heal and then share my wisdom with my brothers and sisters so they can heal. For us to get into divine alignment with the will of God and act as angels here, as messengers and angels. That's what Christ came here to do, was to teach us how to be in alignment. He wasn't here to show us he was better than us. He showed us how to be like him so that we could heal the sick, so our faith could move mountains. The purpose of our discussion today is to utilize these amazing, powerful energies of the equinox to birth from this void, this 0 point, this abundant new life. I set the intention now for Saint Germain's Nosar to come. Abundance for all. No one should have to worry about what they're going to eat or where they're going to live. And that is the sadness that plagues our world. And unfortunately, it's not till we hit that low of a point, like for me, when I completely destroyed my life, that's when I was looking for God, right? When everything was going good or manageable, even though it was a mess, I wasn't looking for God. It takes us hitting the bottom of the barrel and to get totally desperate to seek out God. And that's by design. And the purpose of this message is to tell each and every one of you watching. I don't care what you've been through. I don't care what you've done. Those things don't define you. That's not who you are. That's just things you've done. Experiences you've had to learn and grow from, to evolve. Don't ever believe that it's too late to change your life. I am walking proof of that. Whatever you believe is possible for your life is possible. Don't ever stop believing in yourself. Don't ever stop believing in a better world, in a kinder, softer, sweeter reality. And don't ever think God's given up on you, on us, because he hasn't. Whenever you're ready to start listening and co-creating with the divine, there's all kinds of ways to do it. Another way that I've used to create miracles in my life is a gratitude list. Back in February, I started doing a gratitude list every morning with my morning coffee. And it has created so many miracles. It is supernatural. It is supernatural. I can't explain it. I don't know the physics behind it. Other than gratitude is the highest vibration you can come from. So when you express gratitude, then it allows the universe to send you more things to be grateful for. But if you know nothing else and you want to change your life and all you did was a gratitude list, within 30 days, I assure you, your life would be profoundly different. And don't take my word for it. Do it. Don't take my word for it. Please. Do it. This was so tough and weird for me. We're getting through it though. So, we'll bring our attention to gratitude now. So, normally I start at the beginning with gratitude. We're going to do it now. So I'm grateful for this astrological alignment, these equinox energies, for us to birth an opportunity to come together and have ceremony to birth our abundance into the world. Because it's coming. There's going to be the abundance for all. especially for us light workers who have humanitarian projects and want to just help, who want to be in their fullest expression, but they can't because they're strapped with financial concerns. I'm grateful to each of you. Continue to show up and allow me to share my experiences with you. It allows me to live my purpose, and for that I'm grateful. And I'd like to give a special thanks and a moment of gratitude to all of you light workers who continue to stand in the truth of who you are and speak this wisdom with the collective, helping your brothers and sisters awaken. Your contribution to humanity is invaluable, and one day in the history books we'll be the ones they speak of. You know, we're the ones we're waiting on. We're the ones waking up people one soul at a time. Millions of light workers all over the globe. We have to believe in a beautiful world, in a new world. We have to envision it. We have to see it in our minds, feel it in our hearts, in order to birth it into the physical manifestation of our realities. So, we're going to do a sound here. So I'd like everyone to take a deep breath. Breathing in the stress of your day, your fear. And exhaling relief, clarity, knowing, and trust. Trust in our angels, trust in God, trust in ourselves. Trusting that God didn't put us here to suffer, and there is a purpose for all this pain. Long, deep breaths, in and out. Imagine a beautiful white light coming into the corner of the room, filling the space around your body. And a beautiful rainbow-colored cord coming from the soles of your feet, grounding your energy into the crystalline grid of Mother Earth. While we go on this meditation journey. Spirit, family, light team, source, God, creator, we are aligned with all that is in the highest good in all ways, physically, mentally, emotionally, and spiritually, and for all ways, past, present, future, which covers parallel universes, times, lines, places, spaces, and dimensions. Only that which is in the highest frequency and vibration of pure source, love, and light is allowed in my field. Please assist me as we move through each day. Guide us, protect us, and show us the way for others in the highest vibration of pure source, love, and light. Thank you. I love you. Aloha. Namaste. Shalom. Amen. are the violet flame. We are the violet flame. In action in us now. We are the violet flame. To light alone we vow. We are the violet flame. In mighty cosmic power. We are the light of God. Shining every hour. We are the violet flame. Blazing like the sun. We are God's sacred power, healing everyone. left my quartz bowl inside, the one I always hold in my hand. So I kind of am lost right now. I'd like to thank all of you who showed up, and continue to show up. I appreciate your support more than you'll ever know. And I am grateful for this opportunity when we come together and have ceremony. We're moving through an amazing time of ascension and evolution, and we should be excited and start learning how to collaborate and co-create with the divine based on the astrological alignments of the heavens and the lunar cycles. It can make magic in your life. It can create miracles. And we can all use a miracle. I bless and love each and every one of you. Namaste. You wanted to say hi, hi.